Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Johnny Rocks Stadium. It's another League Two match day here for Cheltenham Town as we host Leyton Orient this afternoon. 3 o'clock kickoff. Another huge game. Not many left to go here at the Johnny Rocks and away from home, of course. We're very much looking forward to trying to make our mark once again on League Two and our push for promotion. I'm delighted to say we've got two people joining me live ahead of kickoff today. Got Luke Saunders joining us, of course, from the club. Of course, Luke knows a huge amount about League Two and also, of course, works here at Cheltenham Town. And also we've got John Palmer joining me from Gloucestershire as well. The team news has literally just come out at 2 o'clock, so let's go run through it quickly. Starting off in goal once again today is Josh Griffiths. Defensive setup today is Sean Long, Ben Tozer as captain, and Charlie Raglan. The wing backs are Matty Blair and Chris Hussey. In midfield, we've got Connor Thomas, Liam Sercombe, and Callum Wright. And up top is Andy Williams and Alfie May. The bench today is Scott Flinders, the substitute goalkeeper, Lewis Freestone, Ellis Chapman, Finn Azaz, Indiana Vasilev, George Lloyd, and Sam Smith. 4 changes to the starting 11. There's some quite noticeable changes in that, which the fans will just heard about both just then and also when they see the team released on social media. John, I suppose the big one that people will be saying is, where's Will Boyle? And he's not involved today, so that's going to be a bit of a surprise given that he's come back into the team again.
Yeah, so he came back last Friday, didn't he? He came back with the goal against Tranmere, second goal to make it 2-0, scored again an equaliser on Monday, and now I think his knee, I think it's the same injury that he had that kept him out for around about 6 weeks before the Easter weekend. I think it's flared up again, and I think he's going to be out for a little while. So great to have him back for a couple of games, but it looks like he's been unfortunate, and he looks like he's facing another bit of a spell on the sidelines. But that is a blow, but what a great time to bring Charlie Raglan back in. You know, we've spoken about it the last couple of weeks, how he wasn't going to just walk back into the team due to the form of Sean Long. Sean Long certainly doesn't deserve to be left out, but it often happens, doesn't it? You get a player back, another one drops out. So it is a blow to lose Boyle. Obviously, his goal scoring record for a defender is quite remarkable, isn't it? He's got 7 this season, I think, 2 in the last 2. But Charlie Raglan's not a bad person to bring back in. I'm guessing that, not 100%, but I'm guessing that Raglan will play on the right and Long will play on the left because he did quite well there when he was filling in for Boyle before. And Freestone obviously is not ready to come back in. So, yeah, not a bad player to bring back in, but it is a blow, particularly in the attacking set-piece side of things, because I think Boyle's Cheltenham's best header of the ball.
Absolutely, and I think the big thing is not just obviously Boyle being out of the team, but there are also a number of other changes, not all necessarily injuries, but also tactical as well. Luke, like you say, Finn Azaz started at Grimsby on Monday, come back out the team, Callum Wright back in, and of course switched for Finn at Grimsby. So quite a few other changes that Michael Duff has elected to make more from a tactical perspective too.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that makes sense. Well, we have, as you just said, we've seen it all season long. They do tend to rotate for each other, Finn and Callum, and both have made a really positive impact. Finn was fantastic down at Leyton Orient, got that headed goal, but Callum in the last home fixture was fantastic against Tranmere with that fantastic strike, which everyone would have seen on Sky Sports. So, yeah, and the other change, of course, is Andy Williams up front, and I think Willow's done really well lately. He was really unfortunate with his effort at Grimsby. It was a fantastic strike against the post. And he's been champion at the bit to get back involved. Got that late winner at Exeter as well. So he'll come in for Sam Smith alongside Alfie May. So, yeah, a few changes, but I think that's a very strong team still over there.
Does it show though the good that there are now options to change it? I know we spoke recently about the fact that players are getting fit again. There were more players coming back into the squad, and now suddenly you're not just relying on the same almost 13, 14. There are now opportunities to have 17, 18 players to pick from.
Definitely, and add Connor Thomas to that as well, who's back in today after missing the start of the Grimsby game. And Ellis Chapman's coming; he's done a good job. We all know he's a tidy footballer, so it's good that he's got options now on the bench as well. George Lloyd, Indy Vasilev. So the squad is looking strong. It's a big blow to lose Boyle, but as we said before, Sean Long has played right wing back, right centre back, left centre back, and you've got Lewis Freestone there just in case there's another sort of shuffle up in that back 5. So the squad's looking strong.
Definitely. Let's have a look at some comments got coming in. Thank you very much, Charlie. He says, hello, Richard, John and Luke. Thanks very much, Charlie. Hope you're all well, mate. Also, let's go top of the table today, lads. Come on, the lads, and come on, you Robins. Let's have a quick question just come in. It says, hello there. I got a question. When will the community/fans be allowed back into the stadium? It will be unfortunate if we can't for the last game, as I want to see the team play. I think that's a tricky one. I know that they're doing all sorts of tests at the moment, I think, with regards to potential return of fans. Sadly, I'm not sure by the end of the scheduled season we'll be able to have supporters back in to the stadium, sadly. But fingers crossed Something could happen, but I think sadly it's probably going to have to be a case of watching from home until we look into sort of pre-season friendlies, really. So fingers crossed, everything will be fine then. Because of course we want you back here as soon as possible, but enjoying it safely from home at the same time. I think also Ewan Cardew, he comes in, he says score prediction today. Okay, then normally one would leave for the end, but let's go and ask that one. Let's get a score prediction from you both from today's game.
2-0 Cheltenham. Said it in the week. I think Circum has got a goal coming. He very nearly scored against Grimsby with a free kick that could have gone over the line, but that wasn't given. And he just keeps on picking up those positions on the edge of the box, getting a few shots away. I think he's going to smash one in at some point. So I think Circum on the score sheet in a 2-0 win, and maybe we'll go for Andy Williams as well, because he's been waiting for this chance to come back in, and he looked sharp. As Luke said, he was within centimetres of scoring against Grimsby as well, which would probably rival Callum Wright for goal of the season if that had gone in. So, I think 2-0. I'm feeling confident today. Even though Orient are much improved, I just think Cheltenham are playing well. I think they're playing better than results have been recently. I think like they did at Tranmere, I think one day the chances are going to go in, and it's going to be a really good result.
And what about your score prediction, Luke?
I think it's going to be tight. I mean, it's the third best defence against the sixth best defence. Orient are in good form. No side in League Two's picked up more points in the last 4 away games, so they are playing very well under McAnuff. But like John, I am confident that it will be a narrow win. I'm going to go 1-0 Cheltenham.
Good stuff. Well, some positive predictions there. Lee Randall does say, how do you see today's game going? So hopefully, Lee, that gives you a taste of what these boys think. 2 victories predicted here. I think I'm going to go for a victory as well. And he also says Boyle being out is a big miss. I think we definitely agree with that. 3-1 Cheltenham to win. Ben Tozer to get a headed goal is another shout out we've had on our live chat. Hopefully he's not throwing the ball into himself and then running on. Golden assist for Ben Tozer would be amazing. Hi, Harry Evans says, you might remember me. Thanks very much, Harry. Good to have you involved. Do you think we will get promoted? And again, I'll open that up to both of you.
Yes, I do. I think it's. I'll let Luke have his say in a minute, but I think it's obviously the most consistent team in the league. Still got a game in hand on Cambridge. It'd be nice to go for the title, but I think top 3 is there for the taking. I think I'm with 7 to go, 4 at home. I'm feeling very confident.
Yeah, Luke, what do you reckon?
Absolutely agree with John. I think consistency has been key. Cheltenham have lost the least games in the league. They've let in the least goals. And they look very strong home and away. So I can see looking at those last 7 games. I know you can't predict anything in this league. That's the beauty of it. But you'd like to think we'd have enough in the tank to get at least in that top 3.
Absolutely, yeah. Fingers crossed. We're looking forward to that, definitely. Let's go for a few more messages. Walid Ismail says, come on, Cheltenham. Will Mason says, come on, you Robins. And the Robins Report podcast. Tom, good afternoon. Tommy says, good afternoon. How are we all? I think we're all quite well, hopefully, which is good. So thanks very much, Tom. Good to have you with us. And I'll quickly run through the Leyton Orient team as well. In goal, of course, is Lawrence Vigouroux, Sam Ling, Joe Widdowson, then Daniel Happ. They've also got Craig Clay, who captains them in midfield today. Connor Wilkinson up front, as is Dan Kemp. James Brophy, Jamie Turley. Kipriano comes in midfield. He replaced Usman Cisse at half-time in their last game against Walsall. So it looks like he replaced him, the Leyton Orient youth product. And also Danny Johnson. And the Leyton Orient subs today are Sargent, Josh Colson, Joby McAnuff, of course, is caretaker player manager. Dennis Akinola, Freeman, and Tristan Abrahams, who of course scored a hat-trick for Newport County here, I think, in that crazy EFL Trophy game a year or 2 ago. Luke, Leyton Orient, they've always got a good squad, haven't they? And there's no surprise that they are pushing to try and get in those playoffs suddenly, after suddenly being maybe 4 weeks ago very much a mid-table side.
Definitely. They're 4 points off it now and beaten in 7. And as we said, McAnuff's come in. He seems to have rejuvenated the group since Ross Embleton departed. And that's a very strong team. I mean, both Connor Wilkinson and Danny Johnson starting. They've scored 29 out of their 44 goals this season. They're massive threats for Leyton Orient. And Wilkinson in particular has scored 3 in the last 5. So he's certainly one to keep an eye out on today. Orient, I think if we look back to the game early on in the season, the key factor I certainly picked up was the fact that they left their front 3 very high up the pitch, and that allowed Cheltenham's wing-backs to sort of almost run unchallenged because they didn't have sort of anyone sort of marking. It was only the full-back. So I think if Cheltenham can get their wing-backs high up the pitch again today, get balls into the box to Williams, May, then they've got a really big chance of getting another win against them.
Definitely, yeah. It will be a very interesting contest this afternoon, especially given that, like Michael Duff said in his pre-match press conference, Leyton Orient have to come here to win the game, don't they? That it's not the time of the season where you go, even against a team like Cheltenham are doing very well, will take a point. And of course, a point would not be bad away at a team in the automatic promotion places. But you've got to start getting 3 points and perhaps taking risks so that maybe you end up with 0, but you may at least take a risk to try and get 3.
Yeah, I think they'll be pleased with the fact that Newport dropped a couple of points, didn't they, last night? That's good news for Orient's chances of sneaking into the top 7. And as Duff said, yeah, Jack McAnuff is expected. They were expected to get in the playoffs. That's why Ross Humberton lost his job, because it didn't look like they were going to do it. And, when you look at this, I know they've been in the National League recently, but really, they've always been a decent size, either League 1 or League 2 club. They're not, they should be up there. So, yeah, they're starting to show signs of that potential now. And the performance at their place, we mentioned it, it was a really good performance from Cheltenham, wasn't it? I think that was just after the Tranmere game, wasn't it? Cheltenham went there, won 3-0, went to Orient, won 2-0 after that disappointment against Morecambe on the first day, and suddenly, the playoff hangover was long forgotten. Yeah. And everyone thought, it's going to be another good season. I think it was a big day for Finn with his headed goal. I can't believe George Lloyd wasn't given the goal, because I thought it was his goal. It's gone down as a Ling own goal. But that was a really good performance, and a repeat of that today would be very nice. Obviously, I predicted the same scoreline, so
yeah, hopefully much the same. We'll definitely take that. Lots of comments coming in. Thanks very much for your comments live here on Teamsheet Live. John says, as always, the Canadian Robins are watching from Canada. Come on, you Robins! Great to have some international support. Thanks very much for that, John. Ewan Cardew says Alfie May, basically the equivalent of Haaland. Well, absolutely. Hopefully, Man City don't come trying to steal him in the summer with Sergio Aguero on the way out there. Robin's Report Podcast says no Cisse is a huge plus for us today. I think that's a fair point. He's been, of course, a very good fielder at this level for a while now. Harry Evans says, do you reckon Ben Tozer Player of the Month?
He's been up there. I think Boyle, just coming back in those 2 games, has almost nicked it from him. But I think there's been a lot of good performances, isn't there? I think Blair's been consistently good. Obviously, Griffiths missed one of the games, didn't he? Hasn't really done a lot wrong. I think Tozer's just he won Supporters Player of the Year last year. He's going to be up there again, isn't he? He's going to be up there again with the likes of Hussey, Circum. There's a few others that are going to be.
You can make a case for Shuttle Long this month as well, because he's played a variety of positions. He got a goal against Salford. When Boyle's not on the pitch, he's probably then the next best sort of attacking threat from set pieces.
So. Winner at Cambridge on his first start since the playoffs, so it's tough. But Tozer, he's such a good leader, and he tends to step it up in the televised games. He was brilliant against Man City, wasn't he? He obviously played well against Tranmere, but great figure to have in the middle of the back 3.
He knows where those cameras are, as Ben Tozer. Some more comments coming in then. Again, a comparison, Liam Circum compared to Prime Messi. I'm sure Cirks would definitely take that one. Charlie says, I've got a question. Do you reckon Callum Wright has done well for us? And with that brilliant goal, which of course he scored last time out here against Tranmere Rovers.
I think he's really impressed, not only with his goals, but just I think he left out, but Finn came in against Grimsby because of the type of game, wasn't it? It was a game for probably a little bit more height, windy. It was going to be long ball for them. So, but Callum Wright, I think it's great to have the choice of both of them really, because they've both done well this season. But I think Callum has come in. Leicester City, as Michael Duff said, don't let that many players out on loan. But he's certainly made a case for looking like he's going to have a very good career. I think he's been really good. And generally, the loans, I know Indy hasn't played as much as he'd like, but generally the loans this season have been really positive, haven't they?
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely something that a club like Shuttle needs to do. The loans need to make an impact. And Luke, a question was coming from Lee. He says, who do you think has been our player of the season so far? I think all the players have been brilliant.
Yeah, that is a very tough question. I think just for the pure sort of consistency and the impact that each member of the back 5 has made, I would probably go, for me, between Hussey, Tozer and Boyle. Boyle for his goal threat, his leadership, he's been fantastic this season. But of course, he's missed a few games to injury. But Ben Tozer's been that ever present, hasn't he? As John just said, skipper. He's got the monstrous long throw. I think he's probably edges it for me. And Chris Hussey's been consistent as always, as has Matty Blair.
Yeah, well, when you're listing so many names, there's always a good sign.
I know. There's 4 really. I've got to that.
I think it's a good sign, isn't it? And similar to that, then, John, Harry says, "Who's your most favourite player for Cheltenham this season? Who's been the player that you've enjoyed watching wearing the Robin ship?"
I always enjoy, and you two both know this, watching Hussey. Because I just think he's different level. But I think we knew that from last season and the season before. I think one of the big pluses for this season, there has been a lot of them, is Circum. Circum's come in. Everyone thought he was going to be good. And he has been as good. He's like Boyle. He's missed a little bit of the season with injury, but when he has played, he's a cut above. I think I've really enjoyed watching, and I've really enjoyed Matty Blair as well. I'd say, in terms of new players this season, most of the new signings have come off, but I think Blair is exceptional, and Circum is another one who's in contention for Player of the Year, I think.
Yeah, certainly, definitely. And the goal's a massive part of that, which is amazing, really. Got some more questions coming in. How do you feel about Prince Philip's death, and will there be a minute of silence? I
2 minutes, isn't it?
I believe there's 2 minutes we're going to be doing before kick-off. We'll also be doing a tribute on the screen and so on as well, and we'll be showing that on all our social media channels as well. Obviously, sad news yesterday with Prince Philip passing away. So across the EFL today, big tributes, and I'm sure the Premier League and other levels of football as well, that'll be happening too. Let's go. Another question from Charlie says, lastly, I want to ask you both, do you think Michael Duff has done really well this season with the players he's got in his squad? Go ahead.
I think, Prince Philip was born before this ground was here, which says a lot, doesn't it? I mean, that shows what a great innings he's had. But going back to the question, I think he has got more out of players, because a lot of the players that he's been playing regularly were signed by Gary Johnson, weren't they? Connor Thomas, Sean Long, Chris Hussey, Ben Tozer, Will Boyle. They're good players, but I think he's got more out of them, and the ones he's added have taken it up another level. So I think, he's, in terms of budget, where Cheltenham are in the budget table, far higher than they should be in terms of where the budgets are. And it's not easy to do it 2 years in a row, is it? We've seen a lot of teams challenge once and then fall away badly the next year. And Cheltenham to be up there, losing the manner that they did in the playoffs, which was a killer, and then come back and do it again and look like they can go even one step better now. I think he's done a brilliant job. Nobody can deny what he's done since he came in. It's been upward trajectory all the way. FA Cup as well, FA Cup adventure against Man City, just the icing on the cake. When Cheltenham needed it most financially, it's taken away a potential disastrous season. Still going to be tough, but I think it's taken a lot of the pressure off financially. He's been a board of directors' dream really since he came in, I'd say.
Yeah, definitely. It's been a very good appointment in that sense. Certainly, he's delivered on many counts. Let's go to a question for you then, Luke. This one comes from Tyler CTFC. It says, you said you think we will go up, but what position do you think we will finish?
That's tough. I think when you look at the gap now, Cheltenham and Cambridge have that 4 or 5 point gap, I think it is now. So I would say top 2. I think it's going to go to the wire between Cheltenham and Cambridge, because that third spot seems more likely to be contested between 3 or 4 of the teams in and around the playoffs. Bolton, Tranmere. Certainly those two you can make a case for. I know Forest Green have struggled with 3 defeats, but you'd still expect them to be there or thereabouts, and Morecambe as well, because Morecambe, you can't write them off the way they're playing. So, but I do think it'll be top 2 for Cheltenham personally. Paul Mullen, 30 goals this season for Cambridge. Cambridge seem to keep grinding out those results, so I do expect them to be up there as well. But as we spoke about earlier, the consistency of Cheltenham this season, for me, they're a top 2 side.
Good stuff. We'll just go for one final question, although we'll quickly just add, but Charlie's looking forward to watching the game. He says, thank you for answering the questions. Have a lovely weekend. Come on, Cheltenham. Thanks very much, Charlie. Top man, as always. Final question we'll ask, and I'll tell you what, I'll direct this one at you, Luke. I'm putting you on the spot with this one.
Okay.
If there was a player you could bring into Cheltenham, who would you guys bring in?
I thought it was going to be the apple juice, orange juice one then.
Yeah, well, we have also been asked whether it's apple or orange juice. What would you go, apple or orange?
I'd go orange, but I like them both.
Yeah, I'm an apple fan, I think, more. What about yourself?
I'd probably say apple juice,
yeah.
We'll go with apple.
Yeah, good. Nice one. Cool. Any thoughts on the play that's bringing, or have I put you on the spot there?
That is a tough one. I wouldn't. That is a really, really tough one.
It's an interesting one because, of course, if Cheltenham going to League One, not that I know probably myself, but I can't imagine financially it's suddenly going to be bang, lots more money to spend. Well, in fact, I wouldn't think that was the case at all. But will some of those players who've been outstanding players in League Two this season suddenly see Cheltenham as an option? So, for example, we're speaking as if Cheltenham are already in League One, they've still got a massive amount to do. But someone like Danny Johnson, who's been brilliant for Leyton Orient, if Leyton Orient didn't go up, would someone like that be an option? For example, scoring goals. Obviously, I don't know what his situation is with contract, but there's lots of opportunities for those top League Two players to maybe get a move in that way as well.
Definitely. I think if I were to look at 2 players, I'll go with positions, maybe perhaps over names, but I think perhaps a sort of a ball-winning midfielder. They haven't really had, all the midfielders they've had have been able to do a bit of everything. Yeah. But someone like Cisse at Leyton Orient, I know they've been linked to in the past, would be that kind of player. But a goal scorer, Kabongo Tashimanga in the National League for Boreham Wood. We've seen some players come out in non-league and do very well. He seems to have stepped up. I think he was in National League South, wasn't he? Yeah. Now the National League, he's hitting double figures. He's closing in on 20 goals, I think. That sort of player. I know he hasn't had that break in the Football League, but that sort of raw goal scorer, because even if Cheltenham do manage to get promoted, it's not guaranteed. It doesn't guarantee you getting a top scorer from League Two. You may have to go down another division to pick up a player. So for me, he'd be that perhaps a player I'd like to see.
Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. Great. Thanks very much, everyone, for all your questions. Absolutely brilliant. Another big, massive match day here at Cheltenham Town. Cheltenham Town against Leyton Orient, kick off at 3 o'clock. So much going on, not just on the pitch, but off it as well. Of course, today is our Swindon and Gloucestershire Mind focused match day. We're basically trying to shout about as much as possible about the fantastic work they do locally, supporting people with their mental health, some of the services they have. They've got services in Gloucester for people. They do services obviously online, and they're helping people all the time. So Swindon and Gloucestershire Mind, fantastic to have their support and to be working with them today. You can donate to their to them. Basically, they're a separate organisation to the National Mind, so they need donations. If you go on our Twitter pages and our Facebook pages, you'll see there's a link to a crowdfunder that we've set up to be able to donate to Swindon and Gloucestershire Mind. So please go ahead and do that. Remember, of course, the game is on iFollow, so watch it at 3 o'clock. Subscribe. There's still plenty of time to buy a match pass. Go to ctfc.com/iFollow and buy yourself a match pass for the game. Season ticket holders, of course, get free access. The match programme is also available to buy from the club shop at shop.ctfc.com and digitally through Matchday digital app. Of course, we linked up with them and Luke as well. Potentially some shop stuff as well. We get a good result potentially today.
Yeah, absolutely. So for every time Cheltenham get a win now, between now and the end of the season, we'll be doing 20% off on all products in the online shop. So fingers crossed for a positive result, and we'll get that discount out after the game for all supporters. That'll last 24 hours and hopefully contributes to what will hopefully be a very happy weekend for the club.
So it could be very much a win-win today for you guys. So definitely let's have our fingers crossed then for 3 points. John, thanks very much. Luke, thanks very much as always. Great to have you. Thanks everyone joining us here on our live stream here on the Cheltenham Town YouTube channel and Cheltenham Town website. Cheltenham Town against Leyton Orient. Kickoff is at 3 o'clock.
Let's go get some apple juice.